Good evening and welcome to the Papillion-La Vista Community Schools Board of Education meeting for January 12, 2026. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Ms. Wood,
Here.
Mr. Bailey,
Here.
Ms. Butler,
Here.
Mr. Madler,
Here.
Ms. Witt,
Here.
Mr. Lotus,
Here.
all present.
Thank you. Please note that the Nebraska Open Meetings Law is posted at the entrance to the room. We start with communications. Student Council report are Maddie and Abigail here tonight. Ooh.
Welcome, ladies.
Good evening. We're very excited to be here again in the new semester and to share everything going on at Papillion-La Vista South. Once again, we want to thank you guys all for your commitment to the district and for your hard work this year. The third quarter of the 2025-2026 school year continues to be a very busy time for our students. We wanted to take a moment to highlight several groups throughout our school.
We'll be first starting with athletics, beginning with basketball. Although we did suffer a loss to Monarchs on last week, we have a lot of turnover and a lot of players stepping into new roles, and they're both having very successful seasons. Our next home games are Tuesday the 20th versus Westview. And then boys wrestling, we are off to a good start for the first half of the season. We are currently ranked as the 8th best team in Class A, and we're looking to improve on that. We're 8-3 in duels, and we competed at Millard West last Friday, and we earned runner-up. And then girls wrestling, we have 3 girls ranked in the top 8 for their respective weight classes in the state, and they have the biggest team so far. We have 25 girls, so we're very excited that the sport keeps growing, and they have a home wrestling duel versus Bell East on January 13th. Bowling, we have 2 bowlers that earned all tournament team honors in Lincoln, Landon Shard and Audrey Bellafour, and we bowled today versus Monarchs. So I'm not sure how that went, but I'll look into it. And then we also have swim and dive, who's off to a great start. They have a winning dual record and many high placements for individuals. We have a couple home meets to wrap up the season, so we're hoping to gain some community support. And then for unified activities, we have a big basketball game versus Westside on this Friday, and it's between the boys and girls varsity games, so we're hoping we get a good showing for that. And then we have 2 unified swimmers who are competing and killing it. And cheer is also prepping for the upcoming competition season. We got to see a peek of it at the pep rally, and they are always very outgoing. And then Circle of Friends will be attending Sky Zone on January 20th. And we have a daytime basketball game, unified basketball versus Bryan on January 27th. So Mr. Spilker wanted you guys to pop out.
Okay, moving on to our fine arts. Our theater program is back in full swing, working on the Diary of Anne Frank, which will take the stage March 26th through the 28th, so mark your calendars. The selections are currently in process for the roles of that show. After that, James and the Giant Peach will be showing from April 30th to May 2nd. Our band students are, as always, incredibly busy, this time with winter winds, winter percussion, winter guard, concert band, jazz band, pep band, and show choir band. Speaking of busy, the PLS show choirs have their debut this Thursday, January 15th, and they have 2 sold-out performances. They'll be competing in their first competition this weekend on January 17th at Gretna High. We wish them the best of luck as these talented kids kick off their season. Also, with our clubs, there is a lot going on. Here are a few highlights we have. On February 14th, the Saturday, over 30 students and staff are expected to brave the icy waters of Lake Zorinsky to participate in the Special Olympics polar plunge. Together, last year, they raised over $16,000 in support of the great cause, and their goal this year is to break $20,000. As Mr. Moore shouted last year, it's for the kids. Still a perfect reminder of the heart and dedication behind this effort. Mr. Spilker wants Dr. Rickley to know that there's still time to sign up. Yeah, yep. And if you don't want to sign up, you can still check out our social media to donate to individual plungers. Now for us, the Student Council. This past weekend, we hosted our annual Swishes for Wishes basketball game fundraiser for Make-A-Wish Nebraska during the boys and girls games. We received many donations from both parents and students alike, so that was really nice to see them all come together. And as the spring semester progresses, we are going to get into our annual blood drive and some other fundraisers that are going to be super fun, and we're very excited to get back into the swing of things. Lastly, for activities, DECA's next competition is Metros at Millard South on January 24th, and then they will perform at State March 19th and 20th. So,
once again, we'd like to thank you for allowing us to present at this meeting and for the positive impact that each and every one of you have on this community. We're extremely proud of what has been accomplished at Papillion La Vista South, and we are looking forward to our continued success.
thank you guys.
Before, thank you, Maddie and Abigail, and I'd like to also embarrass Abigail a little bit. I mentioned to the board, I think it was my superintendent's report, 2 reports ago, that I had the privilege of attending a workshop at Project Harmony, and at the end of the workshop, we had a panel, and I had the great privilege of taking a Monarch student and a Titan student with me. Abigail was the Titan student, and we had an hour presentation on basically social media, it's seen through the eyes of our students and how it's impacting a whole host of factors. So Abigail, thank you for representing the Titan Nation so well. Really appreciated that. Great report, Maddie. Great report, Abigail. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was great. You tell Mr. Spilker we appreciate it. We'd like him to show up from here from time to time. Our next is the report from the superintendent.
Thank you very much, Ms. Witt, members of the board. For our community members that are with us this evening, thank you. We have some important announcements, including most of you in the audience, I bet. If you'll hold tight for just a minute, we'll get to you. A few other district-level announcements before we get to that. First, welcome back to the 2026 half of the school year. Hopefully, everybody had a wonderful and restful winter break. I know it goes by fast. Hopefully everybody had an opportunity to recharge their batteries a little, whether you were traveling or staying close to home. It's truly a blessed time of year, and I hope our staff, our families, and our students were able to enjoy themselves. Titan Monarch, the ladies beat me to the punch. If you weren't able to attend the boys and girls basketball game last Friday, I say this every time we have a Titan Monarch event, what a wonderful showcase for our community, for our school district, for our families, for our student athletes, for band, for everybody that puts together that performance. It was overflow for girls, it was overflow for boys. It was just a wonderful event. I'm always hoping for a tie, but that doesn't happen. So sometimes we don't get what we want in life. That carried over to this Monday, just today. We had another Titan Monarch event. We had our unified bowling event, which the ladies briefly touched on. We had Titan bowlers, we had Monarch bowlers right here in downtown Papillion at Papio Bowl. I don't know how many people we had there, but it was pretty darn crowded. To see our students, our families, the community come out to support these Titan Monarch events, all events, but the Titan Monarch ones are particularly fun. Which brings us to the reason why I think we have some individuals in attendance. And we'd ask that you stick around through my superintendent's report. I do have a couple of announcements afterwards, but before I get to that, we do have a section on the agenda where we traditionally do state and national level championships of some type. For example, if volleyball team wins state, we want to bring them in and recognize them. If somebody wins a national recognition, we want to recognize them. This doesn't exactly fit that criteria, but it's pretty darn important. And we've got some families and students in front of us that put in countless hours, both within the school day and outside the school day, to represent themselves, their families, their community, and their school district, and we couldn't be prouder. We have 4 different groups we're going to announce here, and I will apologize in advance. If I hack names, please give me grace. I think I've got most of them down, but I guarantee I'm going to hack somebody's name, so please forgive me in advance. We have 9th grade from Papillion La Vista High. I'll kind of walk you through what we're going to do first so you know what to expect. We've got a number of Papillion La Vista high school students who made all-state band. We're going to announce those names in short order. We will pause, do pictures for kids and families that want to do that. We'll come back with the Papillion La Vista South students that made All-State Band or Orchestra, do the same thing. So those are the first two groups. And then the back two groups, All-State Chorus from Monarch, All-State Chorus from South. So we'll do 4 different groups. I know this is kind of confusing, but it's going to be great fun. Just wait and see. And we'll pause between each of those 4 groups so that those individuals with their coaches can come up, again, take pictures. Moms, dads, whomever is here, we would welcome you to come up here and take pictures, and we will properly recognize these outstanding Monarchs and Titans. So Dr. Villarreal, our very first group, we have 9 Papillion La Vista High School students who made All-State Band or Orchestra: Alexis Almang, Eliana Calderon, Bennett Carrico, Leo Duda, Krubel Negus, Jacob Quackenbush, Spencer Smith, Emma Stewardson, and last but by no means least, Amelia Weaver. If you are one of those individuals, please come down and be recognized by your Board of Education. Yes, moms, dads, please take the pictures. We'll also have these posted on social media. A little more, yeah?
Yeah, right there, perfect. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Stand out of the way.
Outstanding. Congratulations. Thanks again for being here. Well done, Monarchs. Our next group is from Papillion La Vista South. We had 7 South students who made All-State Band or Orchestra. We have Jackson Baker, Owen Chiavarella, Lillian Lovett, Riley McCready, Ella Parrish, Brooklyn Prowner, and Bella Williams. If you are one of those individuals, come down and be recognized by your Board of Education.
There's more parents in there.
Well done, Titans. Chorus is up next. We have 5 students from Papillion La Vista High School who made All-State Chorus. Very prestigious indeed. Christopher Riley, Jack Riley, Carson Smith, Carter Wagner, Caroline Williams. Please come down and be recognized by your Board of Education.
Ready, 1, 2, 3.
Well done. And last, but by well done, Monarchs, we're super proud of you. We had 20 students from Papillion La Vista South High School make All-State Chorus. Barrett Bumstead, Lizzie Dillon, Leo Dews, Corbin Hale, Asiel Landeros, Walker Lawrence, Mariah McDougall, Carson Moorhead, Juliet Mernon, Eli Olson, Gabe Parrish, Leah Rathke, Addison Redmond, Adele Sheets, James Tucker, Michaela Vrabel, Ella Watts, Abigail Weiermuller, Teddy Weiberg, and Ava Winkler. Please come down and be recognized by your Board of Education. Outstanding job, Monarch and Titans. We are so very proud of you. I'm going to wrap up my superintendent's comments here in just another minute or two, and then some of you, I bet, have other things to get to tonight. So if some of you need to skinny out that back room, you just do you, and we won't be offended at all. Continuing on with the superintendent's report, in addition to the well-deserved recognitions, we also wanted to recognize Dr. Shireen Siri. The board is probably aware, I know they're aware because we've talked about this in subcommittee. We had a Nebraska Department of Education Rule 10 audit several months in the making, and Dr. Siri has briefed us on this throughout the process. The visit actually took place first week in December. If you can believe this, ladies and gentlemen, we were told originally we hadn't been audited in 20 years. Now, this isn't a financial audit. This is just checking to make sure that we're in compliance with state law. Our last one was 1984. And as we were talking through that with NDE staff, we're like, so are you maybe going to start looking at things a little bit more regularly? And they're like, with large districts, because NDE is so very understaffed, they're like, it's really hard when you have 250 school districts across the state of Nebraska to get to all of them. But they said, we'll try to get to you in the next 40 years. In any event, the two individuals that reviewed our buildings, both high schools, 2 of the 3 middle schools, and about half of the elementary buildings, you would have been so proud to hear these individuals. One's a former OPS administrator, the other was a former DONE instructor. The glowing things they had to say about this district, about this community, about our schools, about our teachers, about our principals. Both of them said, we'd heard kind of what Papillion La Vista is all about, but for us to come in and see it with our own eyes, the amount of passion, the amount of dedication, you have beautiful facilities, you have dedicated teachers, you have all these wonderful things. They're like, we were just blown away. It's just one of those things that, sometimes it's nice to hear from outsiders what you're doing, because when you're in it, sometimes you don't always appreciate what you have. And we've got a pretty darn good school district, and I couldn't be prouder. So Dr. Siri, that doesn't happen without your leadership. So very proud of that. Also, just because I know the board is tracking on legislative issues, as the board is well aware, the Nebraska legislature opened for business last Wednesday. As the board is aware, this is a short session, a 60-day session. Bill introduction will be over in approximately a week. We've already had almost 200 bills dropped. In a typical short session, about 600 bills is typical. I think we're going to hit that very easily. Mr. Richards is tracking on that very closely. We'll have former Senator Tim Gay, who represents the district, come in our next board meeting 2 weeks from tonight to brief us on the bills. Bill introduction will be over at that time. We'll be watching that very closely. And last but by no means least, thanks to the hard work of our own Dr. Settles, we have 3 administrators pending board approval. I think all 3 are with us this evening. We have Ms. Jenny Logan, who's been in a variety of positions around the district. Most notably, she was teacher leader at Prairie Queen Elementary. She interviewed for a position. She knocked it out of the ballpark. She is the new chief bulldog at Bell Elementary. Jenny Logan, can we have a round of applause, please, for Ms. Logan? We have Ms. Valley Thompson, who's currently an administrator with the Papillion La Vista Community Schools at G. Stanley Hall. We are very proud to have poached Valley very recently from the Millard Public Schools. We love to take their best and brightest, ladies and gentlemen. Though she's been with the Papillion La Vista Community Schools a relatively short amount of time, she's knocked it out of the ballpark as well at G. Stanley Hall. She will be backfilling the vacant position at Hickory Hill because Monica's moving on to open the new building. And as Brett pointed out, we got to save some money on nameplates. We went from one Thompson to the next. Valley, we couldn't be prouder of you. Congratulations. Round of applause, please, for Valley Thompson. And finally, we have, somebody told me that this individual might even be celebrating a birthday tonight. So, Miss Alex Olson, her husband Luke is in attendance, and their beautiful kids are with us. Alex was a curriculum facilitator, longtime district curriculum person, and I can say that she was my oldest daughter's teacher, not once but twice. She is a gifted, not a good, she is a gifted teacher. Made a difference in the Rickley family, I can tell you that. She will be our Director of Secondary Curriculum effective July 1, 2026. Alex, we could not be prouder of you. Round of applause, please. I know that was a really long superintendent's report. It's not usually that long, Ms. Witt, but thank you for indulging me, and I will turn the meeting back to you.
Thank you, and I am not surprised that the Rule 10 audit found us to be a spectacular district.
Pretty
We
fun.
all knew that, yes.
Pretty fun.
And thank you for coming,
Thank you,
moms
ladies
and dads and
gentlemen.
kiddos.
Congratulations to Monarchs and Titans.
Carrying on, we have any reports from board members tonight? I can start.
I can go.
You go ahead.
All right, I had a liaison luncheon at Hickory Hill last week, and they have lots of good things going on there. I would love to list them, but I forgot the agenda at home, so I forgot. But I do remember that they talked about just how much they appreciate the small class sizes, and I know that's something that we work really hard on as a board, so that stuck with me. But it was a really good meeting.
And we had a nice lunch. We had La Mesa lunch. The kids were wonderful.
Yes.
I went to a number of sporting events these last couple of weeks, that time of year, including the Titan Monarch, both the girls and the boys basketball game. Great games, and like you said, Dr. Rayleigh, it's just great to see the community turn out for those events and support both teams and everyone behaving themselves. And the student sections, they did great as well. So appreciate the community coming out for that and supporting our student athletes. I also did a Terra Heights liaison lunch on Friday. We talked through the recent construction projects that have, finished up for the most part, the new classrooms, the redone spaces, and just getting it updated, being one of our older buildings in the district. Talking through how well the process went with Sampson Construction this time around and how good of a relationship the building had with them in the project. We also talked through some technology topics as far as number of devices go and the types of devices and what that looks like going forward. And then also upcoming math curriculum pilot. So I appreciate Dr. Siri being there to answer a lot of those questions and take feedback from the team on those issues. So appreciate you being there and helping out. And I appreciate Mr. Fritzen and his team taking the time over their busy day, sitting down, talking through some of their issues and just being able to answer questions and ask questions and just having an open forum for discussion. So I appreciate his team and joining me on Friday. And that's it.
We had barbecue.
Yeah, I had barbecue. It was great.
Anyone else? I had it was a long time ago because it was the day after our last board meeting, which was the first week of December at Parkview Heights Elementary. And it starts off, and the kids are really great because they give us a tour, and they're so proud of their school. And I was there before the construction for their renovation, and now I've been there now since they've renovated, and it's just wonderful to see those larger classrooms and the pride they have in their building. We talked about school improvement team, replacing school psychologists, 2 paras to teach, the pathway, they want to go into the pathway to become teachers, and that the behaviors have settled down recently, and they're very happy with the way the district is working with behavior management in the buildings. They highlighted their SIP goals and action steps, and they love CKLA, and who doesn't? Everybody loves CKLA all the time, yeah. Committee reports, please, starting with Buildings, Grounds, and Finance.
We met on Friday. We had a number of topics. A lot of them are on tonight's agenda. Talked through both the Patriot and the Walnut GMPs, which we will be hopefully actioning on later, along with the teacher contract, and we will be finishing off with the Springfield-Platteview boundary agreement. So we'll discuss that later in the meeting.
Thank you. Human Resources and Student Services.
We have not met officially as a group, as a subcommittee since the last meeting. However, we spent much time in negotiations with PLEA, and I'm proud to state that we came to a tentative agreement, and that contract is under discussion items this evening.
And Curriculum and Americanism.
Yes, we met, I think it was the day after our last meeting, so it seems like forever ago. I honestly don't remember much about what we talked about way back then, but I do know we have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow, so I think at 4:30, right here? Okay.
Right, tonight being the first meeting in January is also election night for board positions. And will be turning it over to Dr. Rickley, who will manage that section of our agenda.
Thank you very much, Ms. Witt, members of the board. This is that rare opportunity where I take control of the meeting before turning it back over to the board and new leadership if the board chooses to elect new leadership. So for those that may be here or watching from home, just so you kind of know what's going to unfold here these next couple of minutes, this Board of Education has 6 elected board members, of course, 4 of whom are officers. We have a president, we have a vice president, we have a secretary, we have a treasurer. I will oversee this portion, and once the slate, either the individual officers are elected or the slate of officers are selected, then I turn it back over to the new president or the current president, depending on how voting goes, and then the president will continue on. We may elect officers individually, or we may do a slate. I think, as I reflect on the way the board has chosen to do it the last few years, they've done a slate of officers. In other words, when somebody makes that nomination, they nominate the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer all at once, and then the board votes on that. However, it is up to the board to decide if they would prefer doing president, vote for the president until that's done, vice president, and go on and so forth. So either is acceptable by Robert's Rules of Order. Once either an individual name has been put forward or the full slate has been put forward, a second is acceptable, but it is not required. Very, very important. A second is acceptable, but it is not required. And then regardless of what the board chooses to do, whether it's a full slate of officers or individually go through each of the 4 positions, we will wait until there are no other slates or no other names offered. We will close, and then we will do a voice vote. The board then doing the voice vote until we have a majority, which is 4 of the 6. Any questions from the Board of Education before I ask for nominations for either individuals or a slate of officers? Seeing no questions from the Board of Education, I will either accept a nomination for the president or for a full slate of officers.
I'll nominate as a slate if there's no objections from the board members. I'll nominate Brian Lotus as president, Lisa Wood, vice president, Skip Bailey as secretary, and Marcus Madler as treasurer.
Thank you, Ms. Butler. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Butler. We have a second, all not required, appreciated, by Mr. Madler. The motion on the floor is Brian Lotus for president, Lisa Wood for vice president, Skip Bailey, secretary, Marcus Madler, treasurer. I'll pause there and see if the board has a second different slate of officers. Seeing no other nominations, we will call nominations closed. Again, who we are voting for with this slate: Brian Lotus, president, Lisa Wood, vice president, Skip Bailey, secretary, Marcus Madler, treasurer. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Madler?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Mr. Lotus?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Outstanding. It's a little bit out of order, but could I ask for a round of applause for our new officers? What we are seeing before us, ladies and gentlemen, is the peaceful transition of power, one of the things that makes this such a great school district and such a great country. Without further ado, I believe we'll do a little bit of shuffling, and then I will turn the proceedings back to my boss, our new president, Mr. Brian Lotus. Thank you very much.
I mean, they have our name on them.
All right,
Oh, no.
That's the names.
Didn't think, well, they're set to the height and everything else, so.
There you go.
All right,
Welcome, Mr. President.
welcome back.
Welcome back.
Thank you all for the confidence. All right, now to get back into the swing of things. All right, moving on to item 2 on the annual business is action by consent.
I'll make the motion to approve the above noted items related to 2026 annual business.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Madler and a second by Ms. Wood. Any discussion, comments, questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Madler?
Yes.
Mr. Lotus?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Moving on to item C under annual business, the 2026 board meeting dates. For the record, meetings will be January 12th and 26th, February 9th and 23rd, March 9th and 23rd, with the fifth Monday in March being a tentative meeting as well on the 30th, April 13th and 27th, May 11th and 25th. Typically may not hold a meeting due to the holiday that week, but again, a tentative date. June 8th and 22nd, with again the fifth Monday, the 29th, being a potential meeting date. July 30th and 27th, August 10th and 24th, again with another fifth Monday, hasn't happened in a while, on August 31st for a potential meeting. September 14th and 28th, October 12th and 26th, November 9th and 23rd, with again a fifth Monday on the 30th being a potential meeting. December 14th, and again potentially on December 28th, typically not held due to the holiday week.
I'll make the motion to approve the 2026 board meeting dates as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Madler, a second by Ms. Witt. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Madler?
Yes.
Mr. Lotus?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you all. Moving on to item D under annual business. Again, this is just more of a notification to all board members to analyze the subcommittees and other representation on other boards or organizations, and let me know if you would like to change up any committee assignments or if you need to step away from other boards and organizations. And we will then get a refreshed list and send out to everybody here as soon as possible.
Preference?
Both would be preferred, so nothing gets slipped through the crack, or I don't check an email on time. All right, that concludes annual business under Section 3 action items. Moving on to our monthly business. Item A, action by consent.
I'll make a motion to approve the action by consent as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Witt and a second by Mr. Bailey. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Lotus?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Madler?
Yes.
Motion carried.
First, it was Mr. Bailey's microphone going a little haywire, so. All right, moving on to item B under monthly business, the political representation contract with Catalyst Public Affairs. Mr. Richards.
Thank you, Mr. Lotus. It is that time of year when we try to bring on our political rep contract. We're recommending to the board tonight Catalyst and Mr. Tim Gay, who's been with the district since 2014 is what I'm seeing in my historical notes. He's a PLCS grad. He's got kids that have come through the district. He's a former state senator, which is really helpful to navigate down there with the knowledge and experiences he has. His presence allows the district to really help define our unique interests down there in the education world with other senators and helps give us a voice in the legislature. So The fee has not been increased since at least 2016. I found that on the historical notes, and we really appreciate that out of him being a community member as well. So I would recommend it to continue his services outlined in the attached agreement in your packets in 2026.
One thing I would add to Mr. Richards' comments, besides holding the line on a cost increase for the better part of 10 years, as far as we can tell, we haven't run this analysis in a bit, but the last time we did, we looked at other Class A's. Typically, Class A's will have at least one government relations specialist that kind of serves as the front person for legislative efforts. Many Class B's do as well. It's probably less common when you start get down to smaller districts. But the last time we did an analysis of the Class A's and the Class B's that have government relations specialists, we were squarely in the middle. My guess is, given that Tim has not increased his fees over the last several years, my guess is we're probably towards the bottom of the list. If that's something the board wants us to check out, just for your own peace of mind, we can certainly do that. But the last time we checked, our rates were very competitive compared to our peers.
Well, I can make a motion to approve the Catalyst Public Affairs as the district's political representation at a yearly rate of $39,000 plus expenses from January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026.
Second.
Much calmer, so much appreciated microphone. I have a motion from Mr. Bailey, a second by Mr. Madler. Any further comments, questions, or discussion?
I just wanted to say I appreciate you mentioning, that the amount, that we pay him, which again has not gone up, and everything that he does to help us out. I know we always have a few people that question whether or not we should have this, and he's invaluable to be able to help, because, I know you try to get down to as much as you can, and I know you as well, and I know we have a few board members that try to get there, but, having someone to represent and help us to pick up on some of those things, I think is extremely important, and so I think it's incredible that we're able to keep Tim working for this district. So thank you.
I would just add, along with Mr. Gay and his input, I appreciated last year when you gave us the weekly updates or the regular updates. I found that helpful as well, and would appreciate it if you could continue that.
You bet.
And thank you for getting me the new mic. Hopefully this works better. I also want to add, Mr. Richards, Dr. Rickley, you guys do a great job of tracking the bills that are introduced and how they're going through the process that they would need to go through down at the Capitol. But it's hard to, if you're not there every day, it's hard to understand kind of who is going to be supporting what and who's going to be making changes and amendments to the different bills, potentially with, when they get to the floor. And so while we see a bill being introduced, there's already plans in the background of what that bill will look like, step one, step two, before those final votes, and having Tim there every day and being in those conversations and being able to understand, okay, what this bill will potentially look like by the time people do have to vote on it, helps us to better figure out, do we need to get ahead of it, or who do we need to be reaching out to? So I appreciate Mr. Gay and being the behind-the-scenes person to really help us out understand when we're not there every day.
Yeah, I appreciate your comments, Mr. Madler, and I couldn't agree more. There's an old saying in the legislature, must be present to win. And sometimes things move so very quickly, as Mr. Madler pointed out. Conversations can turn quickly. Floor amendments can be added at the last minute. Bills can be combined. There's a lot of hurry up and waiting, and then when there comes time for action, it happens so darn quickly. Short of Mr. Richards and I making that our full-time job during the entire short session, it's just impossible to stay on top of it, even when you have other groups such as GNSA monitoring as well. So it's absolutely invaluable, and the stakes could not be higher, especially when you contemplate potential changes to the state aid formula, which absolutely impacts our ability to attract the best and brightest teachers and to provide the kind of programs we want for our kids. So much appreciate.
Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Wood,
Yes.
Ms. Witt,
Yes.
Mr. Bailey,
Yes.
Ms. Butler,
Yes.
Mr. Madler,
Yes.
Mr. Lotus.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item C under monthly business. The Patriot renovations guaranteed maximum price. I'll turn it over again to Mr. Richards.
Thank you once again. In our last meeting, BCDM came by and kind of gave everybody an overview of the project coming up at Patriot Elementary. We'll start that this spring if approved tonight. Our contractor through the CMR process and construction manager at risk is Boyd Jones on this one. So they've done numerous projects for us here to start off our bond projects in the last few years. They've taken time to review their subcontractors that they've got bids from in each of the areas that you see in your packet tonight with our architects and myself and our team. We feel good about these costs associated with this project, and we'd recommend that the district accept the GMP of $5,592,979 for the project at Patriot Elementary.
I'll make the motion to, one, approve the guaranteed maximum price of $5,592,979 for the Patriot Elementary renovation and additions, and two, to delegate authority to and authorize, approve the President of the Board of Education, Superintendent of Schools, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, or a designee for the school district to sign, execute, and deliver such construction contract, sign and approve any change orders, retain necessary professionals for assistance, pay the contract price, change order increases, and expenses related to the construction project and site preparation work, and take all other action necessary to complete any requirements or obligations under the construction project and contract.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Madler and a second by Mr. Bailey. Any discussion, questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Witt,
Yes.
Mr. Bailey,
Yes.
Ms. Butler,
Yes.
Mr. Madler,
Yes.
Mr. Lotus,
Yes.
Ms. Wood.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, moving on to item D under monthly business. Similar conversation for Walnut Creek renovations.
Yep,
Mr.
very
Richards.
similar. Same timeline we're dealing with here with Walnut Creek, with BCDM being at our last meeting and discussing the overview of this project with the renovation at Walnut Creek. Our contractor for this one will be Sampson Construction. I want to say, first of all, both Boyd Jones and Sampson, who our construction manager at risk committee picked out of a number of good contractors to do most of our projects within this bond, have just been outstanding. I think you guys hear that at the liaison lunches from the staff. Principals are happy. We're coming in under budget, which we'll talk about a little bit more this spring with the whole board. So we couldn't be more happy with these two. So once again, they're very transparent in reviewing their costs with us. They tend to be able to give us money back at the end of the projects. We've just completed 4, and we're receiving money back on all 4 projects, which is good news, which we'll share again this spring with the board. We would recommend that the district accept the GMP of Walnut Creek for $5,979,635 from Sampson Construction.
I will make the motion to, one, approve the guaranteed maximum price of $5,979,635 for the Walnut Creek Elementary renovation and additions, and two, to delegate authority to and authorize, approve the President of the Board of Education, Superintendent of Schools, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, or a designee for the school district to sign, execute, and deliver such construction contract, sign and approve any change orders, retain necessary professionals for assistance, pay the contract price, change order increases, and expenses related to the construction project and site preparation work, and take all other action necessary to complete any requirements or obligations under the construction project and contract.
Second.
I do want to say that I think it was Hickory Hill, and I think Sampson did Hickory Hill. Or maybe it was,
Sampson.
Yeah, it was Sampson, because I remember being at the liaison lunch, and they were complimenting Sampson for being involved with the kids and helping whenever they needed to do something. It was really special to hear that the guys come in and do the work, or guys and gals maybe, and how helpful they are to the building, even when they're right there helping.
They love that. They love doing activities with the kids, and the principals have got them involved, so it's a really neat thing to see.
I have a motion by Mr. Madler and a second by Ms. Butler. Any other comments, questions, or discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Madler?
Yes.
Mr. Lotus?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Moving on to our last item of monthly business, the student technology purchase. Mr. Moore, Dr. Siri, and Mr. Richards.
Good evening. Yeah, so this is for the student Chromebook purchase, so part of the cycle. We do this yearly, normally an RFP. I was contacted by multiple vendors about 5-6 weeks ago, probably, that the Intel shortage was going to increase prices on units, both not just Intel, but they think it's going to affect the MDM chips as well. Because we went with CDW this last spring, they have a large stock. They're a bigger company. They had a bunch of the same model that we purchased back in April, and I was able to secure the same price on that same model. So we did some just real quick analysis on the last 6 months of this model. We've been happy. We haven't had any issues with them as far as, you know, a lot of screen breakage or anything like that. Nothing out of the normal. We haven't had any wireless card issues, any other. We've had good luck with them, I guess is what I'm saying. So what we wanted to do is jump on it before the prices rose. I could secure the pricing till the end of January, which is why we brought it to this meeting. So I would recommend a motion to approve entering into a purchase agreement with CDWG as presented in the board summary for a total cost of $625,140.
And just some additional information, this is for our one-to-one model. So these are the ones that we buy annually for the fifth graders and the freshmen. Our cycle is a four-year cycle. So that is how that works. And I do really appreciate Mr. Moore being on top of this, because I believe it was almost a 60% increase in the cost due to that lack of chip. The very technical terms that I know. So I do really appreciate him bringing that to us, but that is also why we're asking you to purchase at this time instead of our typical spring. And also, Mr. Moore, do you want to tell him about the warranty and how that will not?
Yes, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, so the warranty, Lenovo did agree to extend the warranty till we activate the machines, so probably in June is when we'll activate them. So they are going to extend that warranty rather than when we actually purchase them or when they ship. They're actually going to wait and hold off on the activation of our warranty, so the full 4 years we'll get out of it. So yeah, it's another nice little perk. And I did I got a couple other quotes from some other companies on the same product. They are higher, so we are getting a good price on these. Good questions.
I could make a motion to approve entering into a purchase agreement with CDWG as presented with a total cost of $625,140.
Second.
Thank you.
I have a motion by Mr. Bailey and a second by Mr. Madler. Any comments, questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Ms. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Madler?
Yes.
Mr. Lotus?
Yes.
Ms. Wood?
Yes.
Ms. Witt?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you all. Moving on to section 4, discussion and information items. The first item is our Human Resources and Student Demographic Report.
Dr. Settles.
Thank you so much. It's that time again where we get to do our annual discussion. A lot of this are things that you kind of know along the way or have asked different questions, but these are the official numbers from the October 1 report. So we send those in to the state. There's a little bit of cleanup time that comes with that through the months of October and November. And then we have this presentation for you that kind of does probably a pretty high-level summary for the 25-26 school year for both our student demographics and our human resources for the district. So first of all, similarly to what we reported back in November, we do have our final student numbers, and that's 12,120 students in preschool through 12th grade as of that October 1. This is an increase this year of 51 students. So you can see for the last several years, we've continued to climb just a bit. So our growth has definitely slowed, but we certainly like to see that we are still continuing to add students and serve students. Just to kind of summarize those by numbers, by level, you can see in yellow here, we have the numbers from October 1st, 2025. In gray is 2024, and in white, the difference that we have from those between last year and this year. So we actually did have growth at elementary, middle, and high school. Elementary, very tiny bit of growth, but certainly had growth at middle and high school. Preschool this year is the area that we saw a decrease. Our elementary increase, like I mentioned, was really minimal, but our high schools did see the largest increase this year. Again, we're up 51 students from last year, PK through 12. Do note, though, that the fall tends to be our lowest tally for preschool, as through Child Find Services, we continue to identify students all throughout the year. And certainly if we looked at those numbers today, our preschool numbers would be higher, but that's why you have an October 1 count, so you have something to measure from each year. So K through 12, we actually saw an overall increase of 69 students. This one, just a quick snapshot so that you were able to kind of get a look at these by level. So all of the elementary here, which includes, can you see that up at the top? Yep, up at the top you can see everything in yellow is the 25-26 then compared to last year. So just wanted you to kind of have these if you were reviewing a little bit further on your own and wanting to dig a little bit more into each of the different schools. And then same thing here for middle, high school, and then a breakdown with our ideal in there, our YATP, Project Search, and all of those. So similarly to the overview that you saw on the slide previous that has the total numbers, just wanted you to be able to have a chance to see what that fall membership looked like in a little bit more detail as far as with free and reduce included in there as well. We always like to take a look at option enrollment, and the yellow down there represents that our option enrollment numbers currently do still tend to show that we're having more students opting in than opting out, which is always a great thing. I couldn't find a time that we had reached over 1,000, so that was a much bigger number this year than what we've seen before, but we also saw the option out increase. So whereas option in increased, so did option out. We see most of our students opting in at elementary, and then followed by high school, followed by middle school. As far as our students that we see coming opting out, we have let me do option in first. Most of our students that opt in, we get from Omaha Public Schools, followed by Bellevue, followed by Ralston, and then Millard. And for those that are opting out, we have the most that opt out to Bellevue, followed by Millard, then Ralston, then OPS. So the same 4 schools, just different as far as which order they were in on that. So that was something we delved into a little bit more this past year as we spent some time on the option with the high schools. So I wanted to share that little piece of data with you. Just a reminder, and you were involved in this decision, but our closed schools for this year are Ashbury and Prairie Queen. Don't forget that just because there's some other schools that aren't on there does not mean that they have not reached capacity in certain grade levels at their schools. And we can reach that capacity by space available, but also by staffing being considered full. So something that we really do annually and is we make those recommendations to you every fall and of which schools will be opened and closed for the following year. Really important to note, Ashbury continues to grow very rapidly. So we had 64 more students this year than last year. I believe last year we grew by 40 some. So that was a big jump this year. Most of our elementary schools, though, we do have some availability to take option students, so these two would not. And then for 26, 27, a reminder that these two schools will remain closed, but so will Lincoln View next year. And some of that is a strategy that we use to make sure that we're opening up a new school and having the means to be able to do so with the number of students and not having, it's a bit of a strategy to make sure that we have, when we're sharing with some, alleviating some growth or some overcrowding that we may see a little bit of at Prairie Queen. Average class size, again, this is something that you all are so great with as board members of just recognizing that student learning needs sometimes do increase as we continue to grow, and you've been great about helping us maintain manageable class sizes. Important to note, these are averages, and this is something that we monitor on a weekly basis all year long. So not only are we still monitoring where we're at this year, but we're already monitoring the numbers for next year. And we just are very grateful that you are so supportive when we do come to you with needs, so thank you for that. We are really diligent about using those growth positions that you give us, but certainly when we see some class sizes jump, that's one of the times that we sometimes do ask to utilize those. And in this year, I feel really good about these numbers. I think when you compare them to some other districts, we are really sitting at a great spot for this. All levels either decreased or maintained very, very closely to where they were compared to 24-25. So I feel really good about elementary being at 19.47, middle at 21.12, and high school at 22.44. It also is important that annually we take a look at our ethnicity demographics, and this is a self-reported area. So we did see our total number of non-white students increase again this year, and we actually now are over 30%, so 30.2%. Of this area, Hispanic, our Hispanic population is our highest, followed by those reporting as two or more races. And then nearly all of those other areas other than white did see increases this year. As of October 1st, we did see a very slight increase in our free and reduced numbers. So we're now sitting at 24.44. This is something, again, that we continue every single year to make sure that we're paying very close attention to. The application for free and reduced does remain open for families that do still wish to apply, and that's something as well that people can apply all throughout the year, and we certainly encourage that. Military families, we actually saw a slight decrease for the second year in a row. You'll see on here, I know it's kind of tiny, but you'll see that, and I'll just kind of give you the summary on that. Anderson Grove remains our highest military population at the elementary level with over 18%, followed by Rumsey Station, Patriot, Golden Hills, and Bell. And then Liberty Middle now is our largest military population of the middle schools with 8.55%, and South at the high school with 7.88%. Overall, as a district, our percentage of military, like I mentioned, is down just slightly, and we're at 7.2%. We did receive about 11,000 responses for the federal form, so people are completing those and filling those out. We also have had move-ins, of course, with military since these numbers in October. So we always continue to take those forms and allow people can continue to report themselves as military as they do move in. Historic, you'll see here for our homeschool, we did see a bit of a jump over our historic numbers for homeschool this year. So, I see I have the number wrong there at the bottom, but that should say 25-26 at 783 homeschooled students. So almost several percentage jump there. So we have not been over 7% since COVID times. So that's something that, again, we like to just keep an eye on. Then kind of moving on a bit to the staff. So this figure shows our percentage of our staff in PLCS by category. And again, I know it's a little bit small, but hopefully big enough that you can see. The overall, we've got 1,771 employees filling those roles that you see divided out. When you're looking at FTE, so the full-time equivalency on that, it's 1,609. And I think a huge celebration, we were able to fill 42 more positions this year than last year. The vast majority of those, of course, are classified positions, paraprofessionals mostly. I think another big celebration when you look at this slide is that we continue to have more than 3/4 of the staff members working directly in the classrooms with students, and that's really important. I do, though, want to stress, and I know this is something I probably am a broken record about, but it really does take everyone, from paras to food service to custodians to the van drivers and riders that are the very first ones to see some of our students in the morning and last in the afternoon. But everyone really does make an impact in a very meaningful way, and it really helps to be able to make the whole system work when we have those positions filled. So though we continue to get better each year and continue to fill more positions, we do still experience hiring shortages, and we do still seek to have, more applicants and more people who want to come in and have careers that are making an impact every single day. So it's great news to be able to fill more, but we always want to make sure we mention that. And of course, it's very timely because our next Walk-In Wednesday is this Wednesday, where we'll be interviewing anybody who wants to come in and kind of talk through potential openings and go through the process of applying. We also like to annually take a look at our teaching positions and just evaluate where we're at on certain data points compared to the rest of the state. So our teaching staff has an average of 14 years of experience and over 10 of those years in PLCS. This is something I think continues to be really important to look at, as we know we have a rather large group that is nearing retirement. So really want to make sure that we're doing our very best some side note from this one, we have two other areas that we've started to gather data on, and hopefully next year at this time, we'll be able to report to you on our number of student teachers that have been hired and stayed on, and then our number of Education Academy students who come back to work in the district. When we did grab all of that data, one of the things that we found is we also have a lot of our students who come back and work in other entities as well in the district, not just teaching. So I'm excited to be able to report some of that to you as we get some of that data cleaned up over these next couple of months, most likely through one of the areas of the new strategic plan. We also like to look at master's degrees. So you can see that we have over 70% of our district teachers hold master's degrees. That is higher than the rest of the state percentage, which is 59.04%. It equates to 668 of our teachers holding master's degrees, which is phenomenal. Many of those also hold multiple masters. We also have 25 who hold their education specialists and 12 doctorates, all among our teaching staff. So those are non-administrators. 48 of our certified staff hold national certifications. So those areas are administrators, counselors, school psychologists, speech language pathologists, assistive technology specialists, to name a few of those areas. Very highly trained staff. Our average teacher salary also continues to be higher than the state. So this year, our starting salary is $40,750. You can see our average teacher salary is $66,005. It also reflects the very high number of teachers with master's degrees and, again, many past masters. Our total starting compensation this year, and the way we figure that is including salary and benefits and family insurance, all based on a first-year teacher with a bachelor's degree. That total starting compensation this year is $73,600. And again, we like to keep an eye on that potential turnover. So especially when we know that there are many areas with shortages in education, we definitely keep an eye on those nearing retirement. So you can see that we have over 12% that are age 50 and up. And we keep an eye on that because we know where we've been really fortunate that not all of our early retirement spots have been taken for the last 6 years. It is still something that we have to make sure that we're continuing to monitor. We also have a very large group of teachers in their first 5 years, over 1/5 of our teachers, in fact, in their first 5 years. So we work really hard to make sure that we're supporting those new teachers. There's some data out there that research that is saying that people don't stay when they are not feeling that support. So I think especially every year as we reflect on this, we want to make sure that we give credit to the mentors that spend so much time with the new staff, the principals, the instructional coaches, the department leaders. All of those are really, really key to making sure that they are feeling supported. And this is a district that's known as a great place to grow teachers and support teachers, and the colleagues and leaders in the buildings are really, really crucial to that work. Just like our student diversity, we also like to take a look every year at our teaching population diversity, and we specifically focus in on teachers on this. We have higher numbers when it comes to classified for the amount of diversity, but we do take a real close look at the teaching population this year. We have gone up another 1% in diversity represented by our teaching staff over last year. So now we are at 10.5% of our teaching staff bringing diversity. That brings me to the end. Again, I know that's a lot of information, but we use this information to help inform a lot of decisions throughout the year, not only for this current year, but future years as well. So definitely want to say again, thank you for everything that you do and for your role that you have in supporting that. Any questions in particular I can take a stab at?
Not a question. Just going back to one of the metrics you shared earlier, class size, which I think I can speak for the entire board. It's a top 3 thing that we hear at liaison lunch and beyond. Katie, you probably don't have this number at your fingertips, but we were at about 19.4 this year at the elementary level. And I seem to recall last year we were in the 19.6 or 19.8 range. So I think we did take a little bit of a dip. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
And again, if you don't have that number at your fingertips, I just think that it's really important for us to communicate to our community, our taxpayers, and for sure our staff, that that's something that this board has very deliberately focused resources on, because driving down class sizes, it's expensive. Personnel is the single biggest item in our state budget, in our district budget. So it comes with a price tag, but we also know that it yields pretty enormous results for our kids, for our families. And just want to thank the board for their commitment to that, and thank you, Katie, for keeping such a close eye on that.
Yep, I think middle school was our only one that went up, and I think it was by 1 or 2 tenths. So, yep, both elementary and high school went down slightly, and middle school was right there.
As always, I appreciate putting that together and presenting and walking us through it. A lot of information, great information there. Thanks to you and your team for tracking it, making sure we're collecting all of it so that we can track the trending and then going through it with us. One of the questions that just popped up as you were going through it was that homeschool number, the fairly large increase. I can't remember exactly, but 30-ish maybe percent at least. Do we get that information from the state, or do the parents have to tell us that they're pulling their kids out to homeschool?
I believe we get that number from the state. Your compliment on the data is a great time for me to recognize the tech team who puts this together, several of them who monitor the different areas, and they also are submitting a lot of those state reports.
Gotcha. And do we have any insight into why the large increase?
Yeah, so we just actually started delving into that.
Okay.
We shared it today with our directors, and I think, a change in 1 year isn't something that will get you worked up about. It's really like the trending that we tend to, we've got to pay attention to it, so it certainly has gotten our attention. I think there's a variety of things out there. I think, there certainly are some availability of some online pieces, but we also do tend to see some some families who make the decision to do homeschool return as well. And I don't know if anybody else had anything they wanted to add on that one.
Mr. Madler, it's a great question. First on the process, so we may or may not know if a parent has filed exempt school, which is the name in Nebraska for homeschooling, exempt school paperwork. More often than not, we're probably going to know. The student and or the parent will very frequently say, hey, I think I'm pulling out on this date. Here's the reasons why. We direct them to the Department of Education. They fill out the exempt paperwork. And then I think once a month, I'm looking at Dr. Sirius, we get a report back from the department. And that's kind of our signal then to release them from until we receive that paperwork from NDE saying they have filled out the exempt school paperwork, we count them on our rolls. So the count should be very accurate because they have to go to the Department of Education. Second question, I don't know that I have a good feel on why the increase. I think we were just a skosh below 8%. It does track with national data, though. One of the things that we have found, it was happening before the pandemic, and it's accelerated since the pandemic. Traditionally, at least for the last 20, 30 years, we've had about 1% of our students across the United States that have pursued homeschooling. I think that number has doubled, if not tripled, in the last decade. Again, I think COVID accelerated some of that. So many parents, because of medical reasons, personal reasons, masking, vaccination, they didn't want their kids in school. Some of them came back, some of them didn't. So in terms of the blip from last year to next year, it's one we'll keep a close eye on, but I think it's such an individualized decision. It's hard to say with certainty, but it is certainly reflect a broader national trend.
Dr. Rickley, I would just add that as curriculum folks across the state, we've been talking about this. We're not the only district that's seeing this. We've had conversations, we think it might be tied possibly to chronic absenteeism has been a focus for a lot of districts and really putting a lot of pressure on families to come to school. And that does, unfortunately, in some cases, well, I don't know if it's unfortunate, but they decide to homeschool or they decide to fill out the exemption paperwork. So that is one of the theories. I don't know if it's true, but it's one of the things that we're watching, especially at the high school level.
Gotcha. Yeah, talking about the state, I mean, it's just such an outlier. I think it'd probably be worth looking at our neighboring districts just to make sure, it's not just a us thing with such a large increase. And then, Doctor, we must have known I was going to call him out because I see he just walked out the door. But it could be worth, if we don't do it already, it could be worth exploring for those families that do leave, to send them some sort of survey to try to get a better understanding of their reasoning why. You're not going to get 100% people fill it out. Might not even get 10% filled out, but for those that do fill it out, just to try to get that understanding consistently back from those families.
Yeah, I don't believe we have a systematized approach. I'm kind of looking at Dr. Settles here for doing an exit interview. My hunch is that in many cases, that administrator, when the family and or the student indicates, hey, this isn't the right fit, I'm going to do the exempt school thing. My guess is that's probably happening in many instances. I don't think it happens in all, and I don't think we have anything codified that requires a principal to meet with a family prior to filling out. In some cases, we don't even know. But Dr. Settles, any insight on that?
No, I don't, but I was thinking too, delving just a little bit further into it and really looking at where does the grade levels fall. So I know some of my most recent discussions have been this is what we decided to do for kindergarten. And, whether that stays the same or changes, just another area that we could take a look at with it.
Any other comments, questions? All right. If none, we'll move on to item B under Section 4, Discussion and Information Items, and that would be our teacher contract agreement. Back to Dr. Settles.
Yes. Thank you again for this. We are at a great point where we have a teacher negotiated agreement for you to review. We had, I didn't count, I guess, but I think it was around 6 meetings with PLEA and a great group representing PLEA who really has a ton of dedication and puts in a lot of time, including tonight. And Austin, I apologize, it's second to last on the agenda. Thanks for hanging in with us. Austin Bolton is here. Austin is PLEA Vice President and the Chief Negotiator for, is it at least the second time in a row, maybe third? Number 3, great job. So in your packet, this is the reason you have a very, very thick packet tonight, because you have a redlined copy with changes as well as a clean copy. So we've got that in there for you. And I'm going to, I apologize for those that are here and reading some of the items from the agenda, but I did just want to be able to go through these and talk a little bit high level about some of the contract details. This is a 2-year agreement, and I should mention that over the course of the past week, PLEA leadership did share this with the teacher members, and the vote occurred last week, and we received word on Friday that it had passed. So that's why we're at a point of bringing this to you. So we do have a yes vote from PLEA, and now we'll bring this to you tonight and then again at our next meeting. But this does reflect a 2-year agreement, and the agreement would allow for both vertical and horizontal movement for each of the 2 years, 26-27 and 27-28. We have base salary would see an increase of over $800 over that 2-year time period. In year one, it would be a $575 base increase, taking the base to $41,325, and that one is a total package increase of 3.5%. In year two, it would have another increase of $225 on the base, taking the base to $41,550, a total package year two increase of 3.49%. I wanted just to point out on here, having several discussions with the board members, we know how important that base increase was to the board, because it really is something that impacts everybody that is a part of the contract. So we did put a lot of focus in there. A couple of other big factors, though, this does reflect a 7.25% medical and dental overall increase. So not each person sees that increase, but an overall increase. Our insurance would remain through EHA, and that is again, approved to be Blue Cross Blue Shield of Nebraska. We would still have the 3 network choices for staff and a choice of taking the PPO or the high deductible health plan. Something that we have had in years past is a reopener clause in here if health or dental increases by less than 2% or more than 7% from the 26-27 school year to 27-28. So we usually find that out in late October of each year. But we also added a second reopener on there, an or if the Emperor's retirement contribution is either the highest or the lowest possibility. So that's just kind of a new, that's just came up in this past year, and we thought fair to be able to have that be a consideration as well. The contract also includes a couple of other pieces of language. So our new hires that are coming to us with experience, we would be able to grant up to 20 years. It's previously been 15. Before that, it was 12. This is something that doesn't affect a lot of people each year, but does affect a few people being hired each year, sometimes making the difference of whether or not they choose PLCS or choose to stay in their current district. That's one that we've definitely seen a trend in the metro of people either increasing the amount that they're allowing or even allowing all years. So I feel like we are now set at a pretty good spot with that 20 years. We also, you might remember, on the last negotiated agreement, we added a school nurse salary schedule. As we went through that over this course of the past year, we did have various discussions with nurses and just found some areas for some clarification on that. So we've included that in this contract. We also clarified some language. So previously, we've had the high need or hard to fill areas, but one of the things that we found is sometimes we have people who are currently in positions here, like for instance, an elementary teacher who wants to move to a high need area and be a special education teacher. We see that in many different areas, but each year we have probably 4 or 5 of these. So we wanted to give some options to those in-district staff who are doing that. And that option would be either cover 9 credit hours paid for them to get their graduate hours in that new endorsement area, or give them an additional, the high needs bonus area of the $1,500 in salary for that first year in that high need or hard to fill area. So that provides just an option for those that as we have discussions with them and moving them into those positions, we'll get to have those discussions. And then we also have previously had occasions that we've had staff serving in municipal public office areas, and sometimes those areas of public office do have some obligations that they have to attend. So this additional language allows for them to transfer 5 of their sick leave days to be able to be used for leave in attending for their public office. Lastly, we have some extra duty changes in here. We added at each of the middle schools an additional volleyball assistant. And great problem to have that we have so many students that are wanting to explore an additional sport. So that FTE moved from 2 to 3. We had an addition of a HAL district team leader. This one is previously doing like blue sheet time. So instead that's an extra duty area now at 5% for one position for the district. We added at the high schools an additional varsity assistant for softball. That was an equity thing we wanted to make sure to be able to provide. I love this one. We have a Hope Squad that is currently happening as a club at the Zoo Academy, and had a request to be able to add that Hope Squad as a FTE, and we added that for Health Academy as well. And, you know, just really with a lot of the different things that the students there are experiencing, and some pretty big life types of things sometimes that they experience. So really glad to be able to have that type of discussion and camaraderie and support be provided at the 2 academies that are on their own sites. This one too, I think a lot of excitement around this one. We heard the girls tonight talk a little bit about Unified, and in the last several years, Unified really has crept more into the elementaries as well. So we're adding 2 Unified sports extra duties at 2% each to each of the elementary schools. And then, as we've seen those big increases, we do have the need for just some coordination types of positions. And so adding a leadership position to be a unified schools chair. So again, you heard schools, not specifically sports, but really to work toward those unified efforts at the high school at a 6% for the leader at each of the high schools doing that, and then 1% for a leader at the middle schools. One position at each middle school for 4%. So that was something we were also excited about. So lots of really great things as a part of this contract. Again, just a ton of time that goes into it. I'm not sure everybody was thrilled that we posed for a picture at the end, but you know, it really is a lot of late nights, and really just appreciate people being a part of it. I mentioned that Austin, he's kind of hiding in the back of that picture, but Austin, as our PLEA vice president and lead negotiator, Austin is the school psych at La Vista West. Lindsay Wilson is in there. She is our PLEA president, and she serves at Liberty as a STS teacher. Melissa Hansen, she's an instructional coach at G. Stanley Hall. Shelley Kramer, a science teacher at Liberty. Sarah Cash Brown, she's right up front there. She's a preschool teacher at Rumsey Station. We've got Gail Sherrill on there. Gail is art teacher at Carriage Hill and Walnut Creek. And so you can see lots of representation throughout many areas in the district. So they joined Miss Witt, Mr. Lotus, Miss Wood, and then Dr. Myers, Dr. Bell, and myself as this team. So I want to thank the 3 of you for all of the additional time. Thank the board for the thoughtful discussions that you put into when we had our closed sessions. And as you know, we keep notes all year long of various areas that we think we'd like to take a look at. So thanks for keeping us on our toes with that and keeping challenging us. But special thanks to that group from PLEA who took this on as well on top of their regular day-to-day jobs. So any questions?
Where do I get the shoes that Dr. Bell has on?
I know, he's very special with his shoes, so.
Yeah, I just echo what Katie said. I appreciate the PLEA members and the efforts that they put forth for their teaching group. Katie's team always prepared us with information so that we could have positive discussions. One person not pictured there is Melissa Husenberry, who was taking the picture, and Melissa spends a lot of time helping us with data and different information. So it's a lot of work for a lot of people, and I just appreciate everybody's efforts to make it positive.
Yeah, no, I'd like to echo that. The PLEA negotiations team, we all came in with the greatest intent to work the best contract that we could, understanding the needs of the teaching group, as well as then them understanding, and special thanks to Mr. Richards at one of the first meetings, again, just laying out what our budget's like, what the current environment in school state aid is, and other things, just to give them the proper information to know that we are somewhat restricted on what we're able to do, just based on the state formula and the current caps that are put on our budgets each year. So we had very thoughtful discussion. It was a great group, having good communication back and forth, and allowing us additional time. I appreciate that, Austin. And many times, Ms. Wood mentioned Melissa in running all the different data scenarios to see how it would fall within our budget and total cost. Special thanks to Melissa. Her and I are Excel spreadsheet warriors, so we love our spreadsheets and really appreciate how
Your
timely she
accountant
is.
brains.
Yes, the accountant brains come out in allowing us to see those numbers and then share that with PLEA as well. So great group up there, and was very grateful to be a part of the team, and look forward to seeing if you guys have any further comments or questions regarding the two-year agreement. With that, we'll move on to our final item under Section 4 Discussion Information Items. That would be the Springfield-Platteview Interlocal Boundary Agreement. I'll turn it over to Mr. Richards.
Thank you, Mr. Lotus. Tonight, we'll be discussing a continuation of a December 2015 boundary agreement with Springfield-Platteview Schools that is expiring here. This agreement allows the transfer of undeveloped land into the Papillion-La Vista Community Schools District from Springfield-Platteview. The area includes land south of Schramm Road to land north of Capehart Road. And I'll put a map up here. And you can kind of see that in the diagonal there on the bottom of the screen. All that diagonal area is what this boundary agreement covers. We have done numerous transfers over the last 10 years with Springfield-Platteview within this agreement area. You know, I think the purpose, it's 60th to 128th Street as well. So you got Schramm to Capehart, 60th to 128th. Any undeveloped land in that area. You can have developed land, it's in the agreement as well, but it's more expensive because it brings in more taxes. That was never the intent of the boundary agreement, really, to try to get some of those existing plots into the district, but it is possible if you want to pay for it, okay? The purpose of this agreement at the time, I think, was for developers to develop in PLCS. We had a lot of pressure on that. They really were at senators' ears in hearings and things of that nature that they wanted to develop in PLCS. Springfield-Platteview had a lot of land at the time. I think Sarpy County, to help remove the common levy, was definitely a priority at that time, that we all unite in Sarpy County and come together we were losing millions of dollars in taxpayer money to the learning community common levy. So that was a big priority in this. I think everything kind of came together once we got this agreement agreed on by the Bellevue Board, Springfield-Platteview Board, the Papillion-La Vista Board. And I think the most important thing, we thought of kids. You know, Springfield-Platteview had the biggest geographical area in the whole county by far. I don't think they wanted to be Omaha Public Schools at that particular time. So, you know, trying to get 4 districts in Sarpy County balanced somewhat as best you can, I think was an objective at that particular time as well. And I think we're headed in that direction. The only real difference in this agreement from our last one is a continuation of the 3% per acre cost of the transfer. That is paid by the developer directly to Springfield Platteview before we bring the reorganization plan to this board. So all that's been done and paid for by the time it comes to us on these transfers. You can see that chart on page 2 of the agreement. Everything else pretty much remains the same as the original agreement we had. Boards of Education still need to approve any individual parcels of land that come up for transfer that the developer wants to have happen within this agreement. This is just kind of an umbrella to allow it to happen, and then both boards have to agree on the individual parcel each time it comes up. From there, once the boards approve it, it goes to the State Reorganization Committee, and we change boundaries once a year, June 1st, at the county level. So we may do 3 or 4 transfers throughout the year sometimes, but it doesn't get changed until it actually hits the county rolls on June 1st for tax purposes. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions on this continuation of the interlocal agreement.
I just appreciate all the time and work spent working with the other school district, working with Springfield Platteview, getting this done. I know it's important for the district, hopefully important for their district as well. And after, 10 years flies by, but locking us in for another 10 years. So thanks for all the time and effort spent in getting this nailed down, especially when so much has changed since 2015 for both districts, including the boards and who's in charge, who's running the districts, and making sure everyone is up to speed on understanding why this agreement is important for both districts.
All right, any other comments, questions regarding the agreement? All right, seeing none, that will wrap up Section 4, discussion and information items. Section 5, public comment for items not on the agenda this evening. We have none. I'll move on to Section 6, future board calendar. January 13th, 2026, a liaison lunch at Walnut Creek with Ms. Wood at 11:45 a.m. January 15th, 2026, liaison breakfast at Carriage Hill with Mr. Bailey at 7:40. January 19th, 2026, no school for students. It is a staff development day. January 20th, 2026, liaison lunch at G. Stanley Hall with Ms. Witt at 11:40 a.m. January 25th and 26th of 2026, the NASB Legislative Issues Conference in Lincoln. I know many of you are already signed up to go. And then January 22nd, 2026, the next Board of Education meeting here at 6 p.m. at the central office. And before I adjourn for the night, as we were shuffling around and moving with the election of new officers, I just wanted to take a minute to thank Ms. Witt for her outstanding leadership as board president this last year. A lot goes into the president's seat that is handled a lot of times behind the scenes and requires a lot of additional time and effort. And so I just wanted to make sure that we didn't adjourn this meeting without a grateful thanks to your leadership during the 2025 calendar year.
Agreed.
Round of applause.
Well done.
And with no further business before this Board of Education for the January 12th, 2026 Board of Education meeting, I'll adjourn the meeting at 7:37 p.m.